Chicago Cubs find a way once again, low scoring, wind blowing in. But tonight, it's about Jameson Taillon.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Sam Olbert. I'm a lifelong fan, taking my passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today in the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and give us a comment down below. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Good show for you here today. I would never say it was going to be a bad show. We're going to do a best and worst segment. Haven't really done that since the offseason because I haven't been solo on a Thursday to a Friday. It's a really good, passionate best and worst, something I'm really passionate about. I'm going to get kind of ranty. I think you'll really enjoy it if you stick around for it. We're going to talk about this Cubs-Pirates win, some Wrigley wind stuff. But I want to open the show with Jameson Taillon because I think I'm guilty. I think sometimes I'm guilty of overdoing the regression stuff. And what I mean by that is like with Carson Kelly in the beginning of the year, I don't think I enjoyed that as much as I should have because I knew the regression was eventually going to come. And the thing is even if regression comes, it doesn't take away from how much you're helping the team during that time. So even if Carson Kelly ends the year hitting 219, that April and early May stretch is a big reason the Cubs had success during that time. With JMO, it's a little bit different because I don't think JMO is going to regress or anything like that. I just think he's done a really good job the last 2 years. I think he's the perfect pitcher to pitch in Wrigley Field conditions just like tonight. 60s, wind off the lake, wind blowing in. You can be aggressive. You could challenge hitters. And, most of the time you're going to get away with it. And, and then he had a lot of success in Detroit. And I don't think I gave him full credit for that because, well, it's a big ballpark. It's a really good place for him to pitch. And at some point, you just got to give him his due, his credit, because whatever it is, he's doing his job. Pitching to those conditions, doing what he's supposed to do has been absolutely huge for the Cubs because they're without their two best guys. Him and Boyd have carried the rotation. Who knows where they'd be without them? And it's still a skill. It's not like anyone can just come in there and throw quality strikes and get the job done. And I owe that to Jameson Taillon. Not that he cares or watches the program, but if you do, JMO, I haven't done a good enough job giving you your respect, and I'm giving it to you right now. Here's Jameson Taillon's line. Let's just say, let's just go since opening day. I'll go real quick. So opening day, he really struggled in Arizona. All right. Then he went 6 innings, 2 earned, 6 innings, 3 earned, 5 1/3, 2 earned, 5 innings, 1 earned, 7 innings, 1 earned, 6 innings, 2 earned, had that bad start in New York. Since then, 6 innings, 3 earned, 7 innings, 1 earned, 6 1/3, 1 earned, 6 1/3, 2 earned. And I almost think that ERA, I've been thinking about this really actually lately because of the whole Jesus Luzardo situation. Because the guy was in the Cy Young race, then he had 2 really bad outings, and now his season in terms of his ERA is effectively ruined. And I think there's just some thought, is ERA actually the best statistic to measure a pitcher, right? That's always the statistic. It's kind of like, batting average in baseball or for hitting, but like ERA, I've always thought carries well, and it's a good statistic. But I think there's more statistics that better represent how a pitcher's doing. Because let's say JMO puts out 5 more really good outings, and then in the 6th one he gives up 9 earned in 3 innings. His ERA is not going to recover from that most likely. But if JMO makes 30 starts this season, and 24 of them, almost 80%, are really good, solid starts, and let's say 3 of them are 4 or 5 innings, 4 runs, whatever. And then 3 of them are just total blow-up starts. He can't get through 3, can't get through 4. Who cares what his ERA is? 80% of the time, he gave you a really, really good chance to win, which means you probably are going to win those starts. Let's say, out of those 24 starts, let's say you win 18 of them. Okay. And then maybe you win one or two of his bad ones or his mediocre ones. Guess what? If you win 20 of his 30 starts, 19 of his 30 starts, that's really good. I know that's not the right way to measure it because there's plenty of times where a pitcher goes 7 innings, allows 1 earned, like Paul Skeens. Hopefully this happens to him tomorrow. He pitches great and loses. But my point is, it's kind of like with Imanaga last year. If you go out there, his ERA, even though it was really good, I don't think you told the full story how good he was because outside of 2 outings, he was almost dominant every time. And I just think you deserve a lot of credit when you go out there on a stretch. Boyd's doing it too, where you're just really good like 80, 90% of the time. Yeah, blow-up starts are going to happen. I promise you. Jamo's going to have a start probably at Wrigley in July. Wind's blowing out. He's going to give up 4 or 5 home runs. And his ERA, whatever it is, after tonight's start, it's in the low 3s. Will jump up probably to the low to mid 4s. But you have to remember this stretch right now, he's been absolutely critical to the Chicago Cubs' success. And I think part of it's conditions, but part of it is Taillon doing a really, really good job. As the Cubs 1 or 2 starter now with the guys that have been out. And to be honest with you, I thought today's outing, it could have been wind blowing out. He didn't really give up a whole lot there until the end. I mean, he had real good swing and miss stuff today, 7 punch outs. I thought this was the best. I thought his curveball looked, especially early in the game. He got one off to O'Neill Cruz early in the game that was just nasty. I think it was on a full count. But he really looked the part today as a solid major league pitcher. And he has for a while now. He really has. And, I don't know if Jed did it on purpose. I don't know if Jed, maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but these guys that just attack the zone with the way Wrigley Field is playing, I know you guys are tired of hearing me say it, and I'm going to talk about it actually a little bit more in the next segment about the conditions. It's a real thing, and you want to have guys when the wind is blowing in like this, especially against a low slug team like Pittsburgh. There's really only one guy you really think could consistently hit it out, and that's Cruz, maybe Reynolds. But you just want to have a guy that throws a lot of strikes, attacks the zone, and then if he makes a mistake or two, he gets away with it. And it was just a perfect night for Jameson Taillon to pitch, and he delivered. And I think at the end of this year, hopefully we're celebrating a division championship. And I think one of the things we're going to look back on, if that's the case, is this stretch when Imanaga was out. Obviously, Steele went out before they had a guy at the trade deadline. The job that Taillon, Boyd, to a lesser extent, Ray, Horton, these guys, the job that they've done holding down the fort, it should not be overlooked. So credit to Jameson Taillon. He was outstanding on Thursday night. Let's talk about the rest of this game. Kind of a weird game. Got a little bit scary there late, especially in the 7th. We're going to talk about it all coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Trade Coffee. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a ritual, a lifeline, the thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's that essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the United States, delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're like my partner, Matt Cozy, and you love a good cold brew, or you're like the Cubs left fielder, Ian Happ, and you're a pour-over purist, Trade has got a roast that you're going to love. I took Trade's quiz. It only took a minute, and the first bag they sent me was spot on. The coffee was fresh, smelled amazing, and honestly, it ruined grocery store coffee for me in the best way. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customer 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. We are back here on Locked On Cubs, where I talked about it yesterday. I know It sounded a little Sam Olber overreaction-y, a little bit eye rolly. I thought this was one of the bigger games of the season to date, only because I think, you lose 4 of 6, you're on the verge of being in a little bit of a funk, and you lose 5 out of 7 with Skeens looming, then I think you're in a little bit of trouble, right? And this game, fortunately or unfortunately, went exactly how I thought it would. I thought it was going to be low scoring. The Cubs have had a real problem lately. I talked about this yesterday too. I'm not as sure as it's elite pitching as it's much just lefty pitchers, left-handers. Cubs have really struggled against lefty starters. Tonight was no exception. And ironically, Seiya is the one guy that's hits lefties all year. Pete got him left on left, and he drove in Tucker, who got a hit. And that was pretty much really, all the Cubs offense. Not pretty much, it was all the Cubs offense. Now, Heaney's a little bit of a tricky lefty because he's a reverse split guy, which means lefties actually hit him better than righties, which is why you saw Bush in there. But it is something to keep an eye on going forward, the lefty starter thing with the Cubs, because it was another real quiet offensive output. Now, how much do the conditions play into that? I don't think I'm going to give the Cubs the benefit of the doubt this time, because they haven't really been hitting great to begin with, even on the road. Cubs had 4 hits tonight, 9 strikeouts, only drew 1 walk. Luckily, they got some long balls to happen from Seiya and Pete, but just quiet right now on offense. Heaney was good. I thought the Cubs missed some pitches that they could hit. He's got a 3.3 ERA on the year right now, but I'd like to see this team break out offensively this weekend, even with the wind blowing in, when they face Burroughs or Keller Saturday and Sunday. Obviously, Friday is going to be an uphill battle, which we'll talk about here in a bit. I thought the key to this game, I don't think it doesn't matter, right? Anybody, the key to this game was the 7th inning, where the Cubs actually were up 3-0, and I felt real comfortable. To be honest with you, I called my mom. I had to tell her something. I called her. Usually I don't talk to anybody during the games on the phone. I'm pretty locked in. I called my mom. I walked around a bit, came back, saw that there was a double, then all of a sudden single, another hit. It was first and second, 1 out, 3-1 game. And I think Counsell got a little bit in trouble. I don't think it was his fault, really. I just think JMO was cruising along, as we talked about. And then it was so fast. Double, single. And I think Keller had to get up just a little bit faster than he probably would have liked. He came in, he struck out Tommy Pham on what I thought was 2 backdoor, not backdoor, back up sliders that just backed up on him. They weren't good pitches. They were hangers that Pham, I think, fouled one of them off and then took the other one. It was just bad hitting by him. And then he tried a pickoff throw and then hit the next batter, and he was just all out of whack, caused him to walk the next guy on 4 pitches with the bases loaded. And then 3-2 count, O'Neill, Cruz, bases loaded. You're thinking to yourself, if you lose to the Pirates in this type of game, this is how you lose. You make some mistakes, you walk a guy, you hit a guy, and then you load the bases up for their one most dangerous hitter. And my heart was beating real fast, and Keller got the swing and miss in the big spot, and then Palencia and Presley were excellent. Didn't give up a base runner in the 8th and 9th. I think Ryan Presley, man, we talked about it the other day. What a story this is becoming. I tweeted out after the game, it's my favorite part of sports, when a guy struggles the way he did. And I know it was one bad outing, but it really wasn't. He's a different pitcher now than he was before that bad outing. It looks totally different. Even when he was having some success, it didn't look quite right. Now it does. And I think Craig Counsell did a heck of a job giving him that opportunity today. He earned that opportunity today. We know that he wants to be the closer. I think all these guys are going to get opportunities, but Ryan Presley, what a job by him, and what a turnaround. And we're still, in mid-June. We're not even halfway through the season yet. So maybe turnaround's not the right word, but I just give him a lot of credit for that. I know he's a veteran. I know he's won World Series before, but we all know how difficult that is when you have a night like that or struggles like that to come back like he's done. I give him a lot of credit. And I thought Palencia made some progress tonight too. He's done a nice job overall, but I thought in his last outing in Philly, it was just too many fastballs. And he mixed in some breakers today. He got a strikeout on an off-speed pitch. If he could just throw it enough to make the hitter potentially think it might be coming, that's going to be enough for him, because the fastball is electric. So really good stuff from the bullpen again. Really good stuff from the starters. I thought it was pretty clean defensively for the most part. Just got to get the bats going. And I know there's nobody that preaches more than me when the wind's blowing in. Hey, got to steal bases, bunt the ball, do these things. But you can't do any of that when nobody's on base. The Cubs had no traffic today. There was nothing to force. There was nothing to do. They had 4 hits and a walk, and luckily 2 of their hits were home runs. They had nobody on base to run. Plus, you had a lefty on the mound, so it's way tougher to run on. There was just nothing to do. They got to just hit better. The bottom of the order, 0 for 3 Kelly, 0 for 2 Bush, 0 for 3 Horner, 0 for 3 Shaw. You got to get some traffic. You got to do some stuff in order to create havoc and do things on the base paths. So it's not going to get any easier tomorrow. In fact, it's going to get significantly harder. The Cubs will face Paul Skeens. Very interesting line right now on FanDuel. Basically even. Cubs -115, Pirates -105. That's just so respect for how much better of a team the Cubs are than the Pirates, because with all due respect to Cade Horton, he's been really solid so far, I think. This is a different caliber of pitcher. The Cubs are going to face Paul Skeens, though, for what feels like the bajillionth time. I mean, every time they face the Pirates, I think they faced him 4 times last year, 3 or 4, already the second time. And they did have some success last time they faced him, which is very good. They got homers. I think Tucker took him deep and Seiya got him. And if I remember that game correctly, it felt like they handled him well even before the home runs came. But he was a little off in that game. His command was off. He was walking guys. It reminded me a little bit of his first start in Pittsburgh versus the Cubs last year, which I think was against Steele in Steele's first game back from the hamstring injury. I think I remember that correctly. And could be wrong, though. Skeens was not that good in that game. He was a little bit erratic. Nico took him deep. And then he faced the Cubs just a few days later at Wrigley, Friday 120, and was just absolutely electric. Struck out like 8 of the first 9 and was like, oh, my goodness gracious. So hopefully we're not in for that. But that's why this game was so important, right, guys? Because now you lose Friday. It was kind of expected. Come back, win Saturday. Come back, win Sunday. Job done. You win 3 out of 4 baseball games, and that would make for a really good start to this long homestand. And hopefully, I'll actually even do a little weather report. Hopefully the weather can warm up a little bit. I do think with the way the Cubs are built right now with Taillon and Ray, especially, I think the wind and the worst conditions actually favor them a little bit. Like, I'd rather JMO pitch into this, but I just think it's also better, easier on the eye when you get to watch guys hit home runs and play the game, because Wrigley is such a unique park, because when the wind blows out, yes, it's a hitter's park, but even if it's just blowing in a little bit, it's such a pitcher's park because there's no space in the outfield either. The reason why Coors Field is always the number one place to hit. Yes, the air is the biggest reason why, but a close second is the fact that they have to make the outfield so big because of the air. The ball flies out easily and little bloopers drop in, and singles turn to doubles turn to triples. At Wrigley, there's no room. So if you're not hitting the ball over the fence, it's usually finding a glove when it's in the air. There's not room gap to gap. There's not that much room down the line. So, it's just a really tough place to hit when the wind's blowing in like this, and I expect it to continue all weekend. But it looks like here in the homestand, especially in the middle of the week, it'll blow out a little bit, or at least have better hitting conditions. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be a fun one on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, like I said, take 3 out of 4, find a way to win this series. Matt and I think Matt will be back Sunday for Monday. And, hopefully we're talking about winning 3 out of 4. Coming up next, I want to close the show with a best and worst. It's not Cubs related, but it's baseball related. And I think you'll enjoy it. I really do. Best and worst coming up next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA Finals are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. I got to start giving more credit to the Indiana Pacers. I cannot believe that they are up 2-1 in this series. TJ McConnell was absolutely tremendous last night. He was the difference in the game by far. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised on FanDuel. You could still get the Pacers for this series at plus 190. Oklahoma City is still minus 230. I've had futures on OKC on FanDuel for pretty much all year, so I'm pulling for the Thunder for that reason. But it's actually really turned into an entertaining series, and Friday night will be, I think, the game that decides it. I think whoever wins Friday night wins the series. OKC wins 2-2. They get 2 of the last 3 at home. I think they find a way to win. If Indiana goes up 3-1, I think they win the series. It's been a really good series. You could bet on it on FanDuel, especially now that Indiana's up 2-1. It's really interesting. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We are back here on Locked On Cubs. And I want to do best and worst. I haven't done this in a while. It's more of an off-season segment, but I'm solo Thursday for a Friday for the first time in a while. And it's a baseball-related best and worst, and I'm going to get a little bit animated here, if you don't mind. My best of the week, which I'm going to turn into something I'm frustrated about because that's what I do, is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is having, arguably, the best start to a season offensively in the history of the major leagues. He's hitting .394. He has 25 home runs. His OPS is 1.2 something. His WRC plus, which measures everything, what the rest of the league is doing, the hitting environment, whatever, is 250. That would be the greatest number of all time. Bonds has like 1 through 5. I think number 1's 246. Judge is 250. So, Sam, what's the problem? Here's the problem. I don't think we're appreciating this enough. And I think baseball, I understand baseball's not everybody's cup of tea now. I understand it's football, a little bit of basketball, and then baseball's just become kind of a niche sport. And it bothers me because I love baseball. I love the Cubs and I love baseball, but of course I love the Cubs. I want to say that again. This should be the biggest story in sports right now. And 25 years ago, it would be. With all due respect to the NBA Finals, Tyrese Halliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all due respect to them, this is way more impressive. This is a bigger deal what Aaron Judge is doing. It is. It is. This guy is flirting. He's hitting .394. If he makes it to the All-Star break, let's lowball. Let's say he's .375 at the All-Star break with 34 home runs. Are you kidding me? In an era where he's facing 4 or 5 pitchers a game, in an era where he's facing guys throwing 98, 99, 100 miles an hour every single night. Yes, I know he plays in Yankee Stadium. That's the one argument with him and Bonds where, Bonds had to play in San Francisco, which was a really tough place to hit home runs. But come on. Oh, and by the way, he's playing for the New York Yankees. And oh, by the way, it seems like by all accounts, he's like a tremendous guy. He seems so humble and just like the exact type of guy we should be celebrating and building the sport around. And I know to an extent we are, but like it still seems like it's just very baseball people. Like I should turn on Sports Center or whatever. It should just be like, it should be almost like Barry Bonds. Like Aaron Judge is up. Let's tune into this. I mean, this is historic what this guy is doing right now. And what, by the way, he's been doing it for a while. I think him having the World Series, having such a bad World Series really hurt his brand a little bit. Because I sent an audio message to my cousin and my uncle a couple weeks ago just talking about why people aren't talking about Aaron Judge. And my uncle responded back right away and was like, well, does that count the World Series? And it really bothered me because it's like, why do we have to go there? Why do we always have to talk about but the World Series, but this stretch? This dude is having one of the greatest starts to a season in the history of baseball. And I am somebody that loves the history of baseball. I have Ted Williams, his 400 season, those guys having to miss their primes because they had to go, fight in wars. Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. I'm not one of those guys that's like, everybody's great now and they weren't that good back then. No. I have so much respect for the Stan Musials of the world. And I say that like there's a lot of them. There's only one Stan Musial. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, whoever it is. But I'm telling you, this start to the season with the guys that he has to face every single night is up there with anybody. And I think it should be talked about a lot more. My worst of the week are the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Los Angeles Dodgers are infuriating me this season because they went out, they spent a ton of money. The least you could do if you're going to have Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Glasnow, Snell, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Kershaw, Trinan, Yates, Scott, you name it. The least you could do is put out a watchable product. As much as some people didn't like when Kevin Durant went to Golden State, it was must-watch TV. The Chiefs, when they're playing great, the Bulls, their dynasty, it was always must-watch TV, whether you liked it or not. The Dodgers are just playing for October. And I know they got a lot of guys hurt. I know that's not their fault, but come on. They put out a position player to pitch in the 6th inning the other night. Kike Hernandez pitched in the 6th inning. If you're going to spend all that money and you're going to dominate the league, can it be more fun to watch than this? Seriously. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to close the show with this. And I know that on this show, you do a daily podcast, you're going to make a lot of predictions. You're going to be right sometimes, you're going to be wrong. And we all know I've been both. I've been right sometimes, I've been wrong sometimes. I feel pretty good about this one. Somebody's going to beat those guys. Somebody this year is going to beat those guys in the playoffs. And I'm going to enjoy every second of it. And I'm telling you, I hope it's the Chicago Cubs. I hope it is. But somebody is going to get those guys. I believe in sports karma. You don't get to just limp your way through the year. We all know what they're doing. Hey, let's just make sure everybody's healthy. Because last year they really won the World Series very injured, to their credit, with their pitchers. So they're just making sure everybody's healthy, everybody's 100%, and then they're all systems go in October. Somebody is going to beat those guys. And man, do I hope it's the Chicago Cubs. Big one on Friday. Hope we get it. We'll see you on Monday. Hopefully we're recapping a 3-out-of-4 series win against the Pirates. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 30 minutes and we'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Sam Olber, and this is Locked On Cubs.